So we got a lot of questions about how clean the honey actually comes out of the clarifier. So here's a video showing what it looks like after it's settled in the barrels for a few days.
All right, so last night when we were on the live with some of the other no-life beekeepers on Ricky Rourke's Horizontal Bees channel, we had talked a little bit about us pumping our honey extraction process of going through the Lysin automatic uncapper down into the 24-gallon HillCo clarifier. And so I told you guys we'd do a little short video just kind of showing exactly what it looked like after we went through the clarifier. The clarifier is not perfect, but it does get a lot of the heavy stuff off. That basically just takes time to roll through it is what the process is. So this barrel right here, it was kind of our amber dark. I haven't even done anything with it since I had originally put this in the barrel with the HillCo pump itself. So we'll pull this off, see what it looks like, and I'll show you what I had done on the last barrel to actually clean it. So you can see there's a little bit on the top, but really all in all, this is a pretty thin layer. I mean, you can still see some in there. And actually, in all honesty, the last barrel I did had a little bit more of the cappings in it than this one does, because that was the first barrel that I had done. And along the way, I kind of streamlined. I don't want to say there's a learning curve, but kind of understood exactly how to kind of filter it a little bit better as we were moving along. This is just one of those stainless steel fryer things that we got on Amazon. It was relatively expensive. It does have some porous holes in it, so it's not going to get all this light wax,
fine particulates,
yeah, debris off of there. But you can see it all floats to the top. It's all just skin deep sitting on here. So again, when I had done it last time, it was just a little bit of a process. I kind of worked on trying to skim it. Just a little bit, trying to get along the edges of the sides. And it probably took me, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 minutes of messing around with it just to kind of get it. I don't want to push down too much because I don't want to push it down into the to the honey, even though it actually will float back up. And I'm sure we could probably find a better strainer than this. This was something that we had picked up for cheap on Amazon that would get most of the job done. So this stuff does stay floating on top. Anybody who's honey extracted before would realize this. It's probably a little bit thicker since we're not as hot of a day today. So you guys can kind of see the idea of the process, but you can see how clean it is. The rest of the honey actually is itself. There's just nothing in it. It gets it pretty clean. So I only spent just literally a few minutes after the first portion of the video here actually scraping around on this. So if you want to kind of zoom in here and look, this is pretty clean that we got it. You can still see on the edges, there's just a little bit, but I probably have only spent like less than 5 minutes here actually scraping that off there. And I just went through this coarse filter to a fine, and then now to a 200 micron. There's not gonna be much honey in there, but regardless, that was how we were doing it in the past. So for anybody that might have a question of how we've done it in the past, I can kind of show you a little bit of a so this screen here is a double screen. It's very coarse on top, and then on the bottom itself is actually much finer. But then the in-box, or the in bucket strainer that we use here This one's a 200 micron. The labels they put on there wash off very quickly, so we wrote it in permanent marker. It's a 200 micron that goes down into a just a bucket strainer. This is how we were actually straining our honey before when we came out of our extracting equipment straight into this. And we would have 4, 5, 6 of these buckets going at one time, because as soon as you get a lot of cappings in here, this thing really starts to clog up pretty quickly. If the honey is warm, it definitely makes it much easier. If the honey is cold, obviously it's going to slow the process down. So this is how we did it in the past. So this is how clean it was now. So really, the clarifier, the 24-gallon HillCo clarifier that we use, actually did a pretty good job. Again, there's not one system I think that's perfect, but all in all, for the cost that I spent on it, I'm pretty happy with the purchase. We had one minor flaw in it. John corrected it, so we were up and running pretty quick. The other thing that we spoke about last night is how to move honey from one spot to another. So today I'm also going to show you in this video, we had sourced, Melissa and I did, and it's kind of tucked back in the corner, so this is kind of a last minute video. Used bourbon barrels. We picked up 4 of them total. There's one here. There's one sitting back here, and I had this on a stand, or a roller stand, that actually has big rollers on it. This thing will probably hold a VW bus. It's really stout. A friend of mine who's a fabricator built me 2 of these. This is one of the 2. So now I can fill this thing up as much as I want. So originally, when we had done our bourbon barrel aged honey, we had a 15-gallon wooden drum that was used by a small microbrew out of Colorado. This one here is from a company out of Illinois called Stumpy's, and so this was used for a period of time, and so you can still have, still has the smell of alcohol and such in it. There is no alcohol in it though. It's completely dry. And so what I'm going to show you now is how my goal was, or what my process was, to pump it from this barrel into this one. So I don't have to do any manual lifting. I don't have to use buckets to pour it. Anything that's completely messy, we'll just utilize this tool here that we were using to pump from the clarifier into these drums. And right now I just have a tube stuck down inside there. I have a stainless piece ordered that I hope you'll be here in a few days, but so we can get this video going and so we can get this thing filled up right away. We'll have to do at least a 90-day age on this. So I wanted to get this filled right away.
How much are you putting in that wine barrel?
So right now this will hold 55 gallons.
Or it's not wine, sorry.
This is not wine. This was a bourbon barrel. It was used. It's dry. There's no bourbon in it. But there's still char that's in here from when they originally charred the barrels before they used to put whatever alcohol or spirits they decide to use inside of here. We are planning on doing between 20 and 25 gallons inside here. So that way I've got plenty of surface area that the honey is actually touching as much of the surface as possible. So I can rotate it every few days just to make sure that I'm getting really good contact with the wood. Originally this one here, which is not as ideal, and you can kind of see it, the bung hole was on the very, very top, which is not ideal for what I'm looking for because the way I'm setting the barrel up. I did close this and seal it, and I drilled a new bung hole in the top with a 2-inch bit, which unfortunately is just a skosh too big. So I used the Teflon tape, and I'll use that to plug it. So that way when I roll it, I don't have to worry about any leakage on the barrel itself. I will tell you from experience over time, honey will pull any moisture that's left in the wood out. And if anybody knows much about the bourbon barrels or any wine barrels, they don't hold together with the glue. They're just really tightly compressed. So when it pulls some of the moisture out of the wood itself, sometimes you can get a little leakage on the cracks. And I did notice that just a little bit on the last aging that we had done last year. Wasn't a big deal because, again, we were only doing a 90-day, so I wasn't really concerned about it. If you were going to do 180, it may become a little more prevalent. I didn't have to do it, but people had said before in the past you can actually wet the outside of the barrel, and this oak will actually soak that in, and sometimes it'll cause it to swell and it'll close back up again. Again, I didn't have to do that. So right now we're going to show how to pump it from here into there. I have some 1.5-inch food grade metal reinforced 1.5-inch tubing that I'm going to use. And what I did is I went ahead and just primed the pump. So I've got a little bit of priming that was going on inside there. The nice thing about this pump is it's very, very simple. It's very, very quiet. Right now you might be able to hear the fan running inside the control box. It'll forward and reverse, so you can pump either direction. It doesn't matter. You can flip the switch over here on the right side, showing a forward motion or reverse. And again, it doesn't matter either way what it's doing. Mine's on the reverse side. Here's your emergency shut off, and it'll completely shut the fan and the computer board down. So twisting it will start it back up, but I still have it on 0 right now, so it's not doing any pumping. And then from there, you can slowly start to pull it. You can see it drawing up into the tubing itself. This is right now, it's on the scale that he's got listed on there, 50 out of 100. So it's at about 50% duty right now while it's pumping it into there. So it actually does pretty good. Again, the pump's quiet. There's not a lot of moving parts to this, so it's fairly simple. I'll turn it right now. I'll turn it up to 100%. Once it removes all the air out of line, it's really difficult to see it actually moving through the tube at that point. But sometimes you can see light air bubbles that are kind of moving through there. But again, our goal is to add between 20 and 25 gallons of this, and we'll age it for 90 days. And I'll probably start another one in about a month.
Because we have 2 of those stands.
Correct, 2 of the stands. And we have 4 barrels, so I can work for a little, do several rounds.
You can see it slowly go down in the barrel.
Yeah, right now it's on 100% duty cycle, so it's cycling at its max capacity.
Okay, so we're only going to do about 20 gallons. We kind of calculated that each of these sections in the barrel is just over 18 gallons. So we've just passed that first section. So we're going to go just a little bit more and then cut this off. This took, what, less than 5 minutes to pump that down?
Yeah, not very long.
Again, the pump is really quiet. I mean, of course it's making some noise, but
that's 50%. That was kind of the one beauty of this. So we don't, on our clarifier, some of the clarifiers will have an automatic float switch in there. So when they reach a certain level, they will actually kick on and then kick back off. Ours didn't have it. We had to kind of keep an eye on it, which wasn't really a big deal for us to do. But we just leave this thing on, and we turn the volume up and down as we need it. So like you can actually leave this on and just turn the actual feed down to where it's not pumping anything at all, which is basically what we had done. And it actually worked out really well. We'd go over and open it up or turn it on and let it pump out of the clarifier into one of our barrels, and then shut it back down, and then keep kind of moving from there. But so far, again, what we had done here worked fairly well for a relatively affordable price, depending on what everybody's goals would be and how much time they have to complete something. So this seems to work well for us. Thanks for watching, guys. All right, we just wanted to show you guys a short little video today, or maybe add to an existing video that we already had started. So we actually we needed to pump some of our light honey into some 5-gallon buckets to take downstairs into our holding tanks, our heated bottling tanks, as a matter of fact. So what I wanted to do was pump a handful of them today, and we just got in the licensed stainless steel pipe that actually works inside the barrel. So this will actually make things really nice. It's got an attachment point in the back. You can fasten it to anything, so it's not going to move around on you. It actually comes with fittings actually for an 1.5 inch and or even a 2-inch hose. All the hose that I'm running with the HillCo pump is all 1.5 inch. So 1.5 works just fine for the volume that this thing pushes, and it seems to do just fine. So I already actually primed it. I just used a couple of pieces of existing hose that I already had cut. One to hook onto the tube and to pump out into the buckets. The other one was just our a half piece that we had here. The whole system actually works really good. What I usually end up doing, just to speed it up a little bit, is I end up actually priming this. So I had the tube off, primed it with a cup of honey, dumped down inside there to get it primed, and then from there we'll actually pump it down into the bucket. So just real quick, just wanted to show you guys how this thing worked. And just an FYI, this actually has, if you read the tag here, it has a forward motion and reverse. So I don't know that all pumps actually do this specifically. So with the flip of a switch on the back side of this here, I can actually flip it to actually go to reverse it, pulling through, or I can actually forward it to go back the other way. So right now I have it on the, hook it on the forward motion, and I already have it on. And then as whoops, hold on, my bad. I should have left it alone because I already had it set up. It looks like actually the tag is on backwards, because right now I've got it flipped to reverse, and it's actually pumping this way. So that tag is on backwards. Just now realized that. Still a little bit of air in the line, but that's running at 100% duty cycle. We've got about 2.5 gallons in there already, maybe 3. When I'm filling these buckets up, I usually fill them up all the way, a 5-gallon bucket. When you get it within about the first, or the top inch and a quarter, you're at 60 pounds, or very close to. Well, that gives you guys an idea of how long it takes to fill up a 5-gallon bucket with that pump itself. And I'm just going to keep filling all the rest of these buckets up so I can get my bottling tank close to topped off.
All right, do your microphone check. Say something, Thomas.
Something, Thomas.